these final hours, I will lay down my heart, and I feel the power, but you won't.
It's not Aloha for me.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ukulele on the Ground podcast. My name is Aldrin Guerrero. Joining me are Mr. Aaron, the voice, Nakamura. Say what's up, Aaron.
What's up?
And Mr. Kahai, the legend, Fergan. Say what's up, Kahai.
What's up?
And back. It's like a 100-day streak, man. 100-week streak or something. Mr. Funk Master Mike Odo. Funk Master Mike, what up, man?
Yeah,
Love the shirt. We were just talking about Streetlight Cadence. What up to Streets? Hey, shout out to Streetlight Cadence.
What's up, guys?
Both bands. Old and new Streetlight Cadence.
All different versions.
So
Like the Four Horsemen.
yeah, so Bonnie Raitt. Yeah, just
He's
got
incredible.
Yeah, just got stuck in our heads. Yeah, and Kai is like threatening. He's like, I'm gonna turn on the mic soon. I'm like, I don't care. Let the world know that I like Bonnie Raitt. In this show, we talk any and all subjects of ukulele. So you guys can ask. We talk about all things ukulele. So if you guys have an ukulele question, please ask them on the live chat right now, and we'll try to answer them as best as we can. So I'll try to answer as best as I can. I'll put in my 2 cents, and these 3 guys will put in their 2 cents, and we'll come up with the best 8-cent answer for you folks.
Adjusted for inflation.
Calculating.
Yeah. I need that spinning, the Mac spinning thing. Like it's
rainbow wheel.
Yeah, there it is. It's 8-cent answer for you folks. So while we wait for people to kind of come in and then ask questions and stuff, really anything about ukulele, or sometimes not ukulele at all, we'll maybe answer them if we feel like it, right?
The closer you get to music, the more likely we are to answer this question.
Yeah.
The further you get away from it, actually, depending on the week.
Yeah, depending on the week, depending on our mood, actually.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You have come to realize that this show is really our show. So we have no sponsors, no nothing like that. Say whatever we want, right?
There's no Patreon to not support.
Yeah, there you go. Who's your... No,
Who's your Patreon?
We have
all
a
of you guys were
Patreon of
watching.
sorts.
Yeah, we do have a Patreon of sorts.
Our own.
Yeah.
It is Ukulele Underground Plus. So if you guys are like, oh, I like kind of monthly subscriptions, I like doing stuff every month, I like getting things, you know? So if you sign up for UU Plus on Ukulele Underground, you guys can get songs and lessons, private lessons,
yes,
one-on-one with yours truly. And every week I can check in on your, on your progress via the live coaching. I can do that, and you have access to, our backlog of premium content, which we've been building up for 16 years of premium content, and not like the free lessons that we have. Those are for everybody. You get like that.
Everything.
Yeah. The
premium. It's premium. It's called premium for a reason.
Yes. Like.
And unlike Patreon, you don't have to do tiers. Just join and you get it all.
Unlike Patreon, you don't have to dig through weeks and weeks and weeks of content to get to the ones that you're actually looking for. What I don't like about Patreon, because I'm subscribed to some Patreons, and it seems like the backlog stuff just get buried, because it's kind of like, here's the new things. If you're subscribed to like a bunch of people, all of the older content, you know what I mean? If you're working on a song, for example, I am subscribed to some ukulele people's Patreons. I'm like, what was that song that I was working on? And it's just, I just got to dig into it, or like a podcast that I subscribe to. It's like, oh yeah, they did like this Halloween pod that like I want to listen to back in like 2019 or whatever, and I gotta dig all the way into 2019. But on Ukulele on the Ground, it's right there. Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah?
One search bar away.
One search bar, you're like, I want to learn how to chunk. Bam, search bar, chunk, all the things, chunk related. Yeah?
Even for the YouTube stuff, if you want to watch old podcasts, it's one huge playlist on YouTube. That's easy to find.
Kahai. That's why he's the man.
Absolutely.
Kahai's the man. Kahai is the legend for a reason. Okay? Now he's a living legend. He's like who's Larry Zabisco? He's like Larry Zabisco. Okay, Kahai, give us the first question.
Jim had a couple questions.
Sure.
He said on a recent post on Facebook, somebody referred to a big brand ukulele nut slots. He claimed that the slot for the A string was too close to the edge of the uke and his fingers slipped off the side of the neck and hence off the string. Any comments on string position relative to the side of the neck affecting playing? Is this a skill error that can be rectified?
That is weird because normally you wouldn't, and it's a really fine line that you're playing with, because too close to the inside, it's uncomfortable for playing, and it's uncomfortable to do things like pull-offs and stuff. But too far,
well, you just go over the side all the time.
Close to the edge of the fretboard.
Yeah. So, if it's like a handcrafted ukulele, I would understand that happening, because that's just something that happens. But for like ukuleles that are made with with computers and lasers nowadays and stuff, and it's not just like one or two major brands, a lot of like major brands that are using computers. So that's kind of a
design error.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird, it's probably one out of like however many, like hundreds of ukuleles that
What brand did he say this ukulele?
He didn't say.
Didn't say?
Didn't specify.
I mean,
popular brand.
The thing is, too, when you're dealing with a handmade ukulele, the string spacing the ukulele maker makes is kind of dependent on them.
Yeah, on them.
What do they, because, when it comes to that, a lot of ukulele makers are going to make what fits them.
Yeah.
Well, and if it happens to fit you too, awesome.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't happen to fit you, then, there's not much a whole lot you can do, except you could take your ukulele to the local guitar luthier.
Yeah. Or back to the manufacturer if you know them.
Well, it depends, because if it's an actual issue, then yes, the manufacturer should just give you a new nut.
Yeah.
And you put it in. But if they designed it that way, they're
that's
not going
intentional.
to.
Yeah.
So you just take it to your local guitar store, show it to the guitar tech over there, and said, "Hey, cut me a new one. Give me a new nut. Cut new slots that are closer to this."
Yeah.
Because that's not really going to negatively affect your ukulele.
No, and I was gonna say, it's if it is like some kind of error, it's a pretty easy fix. It's just like getting a new nut. So if it's a big brand, big ukulele brand, I'm pretty sure they can help you out with that. So if you're like, man, the nut is a little too close down to to the bottom of the neck or whatever, and it's like kind of coming off. Yeah, that's as simple as like, okay, well, they'll send you maybe a new nut and then go to just like a luthier and swap it out or something. Or it's not.
I mean,
that
if they
bad.
send it to you pre-cut, you don't even need to really do that.
No,
just take the strings off and just.
I know, but some people might be scared of like trying to take that nut off. Like not everyone's that comfortable.
Depends on the maker, because actually, not every company actually seals the nut on.
Yeah.
There's tons of guitars and stuff that I work on where once I take the strings off, it just falls off. So if your ukulele is like that, then it's mostly just watch it fall out and put the new one in, put the strings back.
But just in case, I want to blanket our statements and say that go to a music store, at least a music store, or or a luthier to get that installed. But it's a pretty simple fix. They'll probably just let them know like, hey, the string is a little too close, to the edge of the nuts, kind of it came off or whatever, or it broke off or whatever it may be. They'll just send you a new nuts. Just talk to them. Be like, I'm gonna send it over to this store, this luthier to get it fixed. Maybe just talk to them about covering the cost, because maybe you shouldn't really absorb that cost, should you?
Again, it depends on whether it's a defect or their design.
That's true. Yeah.
If it's their design, they'll be like, well, no, that's the way we built it.
That's how it is. Yeah.
There's a good example I can think of that was like that. Is a big brand. So Kala.
Oh.
The necks on their elites. Versus
the opinions of Mike Odo do not
reflect that of Ukulele Underground.
No, if anyone has actually played a normal kala versus the elite kalas, and you've played both, right?
Yeah. Those are handmade, the elite ones.
Yeah, but the neck and the string spacing on those elites is way wider than a standard kala, but that's how they wanted to make it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that would be like what I'm talking about, in a sense that if you went to kala and said, hey, I don't like the nut spacing on this, then you'd be like, well, this is exactly, we made it this way for a reason. Now, that doesn't mean you probably couldn't say, hey, would you mind sending me one from a Chinese ukulele because I like that spacing? And who knows, they might do that. But it's important to just kind of look at all the options
Yeah.
and know understand why. I mean, talking about the music store, if you have a decent music store in your town, most music stores have spare parts lying around
saddles and nuts
that they could just cut to your specification.
Yeah.
How so you don't even have to wonder. You could just, again, if you use that same example, that tech could just pull the Elite, pull a standard tenor,
and just put it in there.
and just like, okay.
Would it be, if you're saying is a neck wider, or is it just the string spacing between
I think the neck on the Elites is wider.
So if it's a wider neck, shouldn't you get like a different nut? So like a nut from a
Oh no, I'm not saying pull one off the Chinese one.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
saying
okay.
you could
Get a
get
blank.
a brand new
Oh, okay,
blank
yeah.
and cut it though to the spacing that a
Okay.
Chinese one would have. Now that would mean that you might have some extra space on the sides.
yeah.
But it depends on how badly this is affecting you too.
Because I know that my local music store did my saddle for me. I had a saddle done from my local music store. This guy. Actually, Mike helped me out with my saddle this time. This one right here that I'm using right now for my ukulele. Mike sanded it down, got it to the right height that I want to. High five, buddy. It sounds great.
There's tuners too.
Oh yeah, that's right. The tuner is also Mike. Go see Mike. Just come down to Kauai and go see Mike. I need you to fix the string space. the nut. You guys have spare nuts, right? You guys have spare nuts, right?
Yeah. Bridge
Boom.
saddles.
Boom.
Stuff like that.
Make a trip to Kauai.
Yeah.
Go see Mike Odo over at
Scotty's Music
Scotty's
House.
Music. Scotty's Music House.
I don't remember she kept the house part.
Oh, yeah?
I think it's still on the sign though. It's Scotty's Music. There's only one.
When are they gonna drop the Scotty part? Because that's the part that I feel like should get dropped soon. Because Scotty doesn't own it anymore.
That is true. He's still a landlord.
That's why it's house, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah. Scotty's house. You should drop music.
Scotty's house.
Scotty's house.
People just wonder what happens in there.
Yeah. Anything Scotty wants.
A big part of the reason why we kept the name is one, for better or for worse, it is a name that has been on Kauai for 20 plus years. And, the thing would be that if she had changed the name, all of our like Google search and everything like that.
It's true. Your SEO kind of.
So someone who types in music store on Kauai, none of that would filter to us.
Yeah.
And because of that, she's like, no, it's just easier.
If that's what you're going for, just make it like into a generic sounding music store, like
Guitar
the
Center.
Aloha, Aloha Ukulele store, whatever. Like, okay, ukulele store, and that's boom, SEO all the way up the roof
Welcome to Aloha Guitar Center.
to Kauai Aloha Music Shop. Or something like
Aloha
that.
Sweetwater Center.
But anyway, so hopefully that answers your question. Kahai, next one. You said he had multiple questions.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, Jim kind of added on. I think I asked Jim if it was like that the guy's finger was slipping off, or if it was the string itself.
Okay.
And he said it probably, or it might have been both. He can't remember. But then he said that it's the person was complaining about a new nut that they installed on the stuff. So it sounds like maybe they're trying.
Aftermarket.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
why.
there's
so
two,
Disney.
So there's two issues with that.
Yeah.
If you buy an aftermarket nut with the slots already cut, they could be different than what you had before,
Yes.
and that would totally screw you up.
Yeah.
Which is why generally you want to go to a store that has blanks and then cut the slots yourself or have them cut the slots for you. Also, and I don't know who installed it. It's always possible you might have installed it wrong.
Ooh, yeah, because even if it's just a little bit off
Right.
to the,
if it's
to the
off the sides,
left
in
or
any
right,
direction,
yeah,
that's going to
yeah.
affect you
That's
immensely.
true. And intonation. That's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah. So, okay, that changes everything. That changes everything. So, just stick with the,
In this case, I would say definitely take it to a qualified tech.
Yeah.
Just have them look, because really, if it just means that the nut is shifted over by a millimeter or two, you're gonna feel it, but you might not be able to see it very easily.
Yeah.
But they would see that.
But that's kind of what I'm talking about. Like a lot of modern ukulele makers nowadays make with, especially those smaller parts and stuff, make it with lasers and computers now, and so that they get that accurate, like build every time.
Right.
I think the stuff that they do by hand is maybe like the bending process and stuff like that, or like putting it together. But for the most part, those tiny things like the frets where they position markers and or the fret wires, like installing that stuff on and finishing. I think like that.
That should be pretty precision.
Yeah.
I just mean literally physically. If this was a millimeter,
yeah, it makes a big difference.
That could be where the mistake was made.
Okay, next.
Yeah, and part of like Jem's question too was like, is this a skill issue on the person who's playing it, right? Where
It might be, but
it's
I think
to answer without seeing,
without knowing or seeing what is going on, because maybe it might be but there's definitely you change a lot of things by using an aftermarket nut or saddle or whatever. Like there's all these things. Yeah, there's all these risks that you're taking, and that's a risk that you took by using an aftermarket one.
If somebody like is new to the ukulele and they're like having problems with their ukulele, like when would you tell, or how do they figure out if it's them who's like how they're playing can be adjusted for them to play it better versus the actual instrument itself? Like there's like a manufacturing error with the instrument itself.
Join UkuleleUndergroundPlus.com. Get a lesson.
Very good question. That is because like a beginner, especially somebody who's never played ukulele before, would have a hard time like figuring out is this like a good ukulele. So there are some things that you can do. First off, when looking for an ukulele, and I'm sure you can help out with this because you help people out, with finding ukuleles all the time. So for me, there's a few steps that I take when picking out an ukulele. Okay, so when I pick out an ukulele, I make sure that the fret wires, first off, are dressed nicely. And what that means is I take my two fingers, my thumb and my pointer finger, and I run it across the neck like this, making sure that the fret wires, these little silver things, are not like slicing my hand as I go and as I go through it, sticking out. That's like it'll definitely. It's not just like for comfort of like, okay, I'm going up and down the neck, because some people might say, well, I never go up here, so why would I worry about that? It's attention to detail. Okay, so it's not the fact that you're gonna go up here and you're gonna move a lot. It's if these are dressed correctly, then that means like they looked at the ukulele from beginning to finish, because this is a finishing thing. If they paid attention to even the smallest of details, like finishing on the fret wires, that's a good thing. Okay. Next, I want to feel if the string height is good on this ukulele. So if it feels feels like you're pressing too hard on the strings for it to kind of go down. I know some beginners might not see that or might not feel that, but that's something that I look for. Okay. Another thing that I like to do is, and even as a beginner, the intonation of the ukulele. This is a big one for me. Okay. And a few cents is fine. Like if it's a little bit off, that's okay. Maybe it's a string thing. Maybe it's something else. But in order to check that, you just want to play the open string 0 and 12. It should be the same note, okay? Because 12 on 0 on A on the A string is an A. 12 on the A string is an A. Those two notes are exactly the same. If this sounds like this,
difference.
Yeah, it's just an octave difference. Yeah. If it sounds like this and it sounds like this, then your ukulele is playing pretty sharp, okay? But if it sounds like, where it's just a little sharp, it's fine. But as long as it's not like, It was like a completely different note, you know, and like I said, it could be like a string change that might fix that intonation and stuff. And then another thing is I will check the first 5 frets to see if there's any buzzing. Some buzzing is okay, but if there's some where like the string heights on the nut or the nut of the ukulele in general is just like too low or too high, you'll know that by just kind of. So I'll play the A string, for example. They all sound pretty good. None of them sound muffled or anything like that, because I'm sure you, working in a ukulele store, you see that all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like muffled frets.
A lot of buzzing.
Don't name the brand.
No.
The brand. Brands. Okay, and then the E string. No buzzes, and they all sound, pretty good and pretty clear. Really, just clarity is what you're looking for, But if it sounds like, when it starts to sound like that, maybe not. That's kind of an exaggeration, but there really is that like. I'm trying to make it buzz, but there is one. Yeah.
Really good ukulele. It's hard to make it.
You, sir,
It does not
did the saddle for me.
It does not want to do bad
things. It's that's all in the person who set it up for me. Now, that's one thing. Another thing is the so as far as like intonation goes, and in my second part, sometimes when you tune it up, like it's in tune, and then as soon as you play like a G chord, for example, it's like, whoa, why doesn't it sound like that G that I hear on like on the play-alongs that I play with on YouTube? Cynthia's ukulele sounds like it's in tune. Mine doesn't sound like that when you're playing a Cynthia Lynn play-along, So that's something that I also look for, and then just kind of just play it. And when I first play it, I take the ukulele and I make it face me like this. So I take my thumb, or take these 4 fingers, play it, I'll put it at the bottom like this, so that you can kind of like hit it with your thumb, and then place it like this so that it's facing you. Because when you play it this way, it's kind of coming out. I know I have a side port here, and I'm kind of cheating, but for the most part, I do this. Because I want to hear the projection of the ukulele, if it sounds good, and I want to, and after I play it, so if you have to kind of grab it from this left hand. After you play it, you kind of just want to touch the ukulele to see if it's vibrating nicely. Like a good, like solid top, or solid body ukulele, not solid body, but just a solid top ukulele should have a nice like amount of vibration on there, like closer to where the bridge is.
Yeah.
That's where.
and even a decent laminate top.
Yeah, it should.
Keep in mind, all sound is vibration.
Yeah.
So if your ukulele is not vibrating,
It's not a good sound.
It's not.
It's not a good sound.
No
It's not a
sound.
good sound. Not a good sound. But I mean, like, you should feel the vibration. I mean, there's some ukuleles you could go and then not feel that like there. It should. So even if you're facing this way, like that, and just kind of place your fingers down here, you should be able to feel that vibration. And I mean, those are like some basic things. What's something that you want to add to that?
Well, there's a couple caveats to that.
Yeah.
With the fret thing.
Yeah.
It depends on what level of ukulele we're talking about. And so, like, here's a big one for that. The fret sprouting problem is a wood issue, not a metal issue. Yeah, everybody thinks it's metal because it's what's obvious to you. Yeah. But what's really happening is when you have fret sprout on your ukulele, your fingerboard is shrinking. It happens a lot if you take it. Now, keep in mind, most good ukuleles are made in Hawaii. And then if you take them to Utah, where the humidity is like nothing, if your fingerboard hasn't been taken care of and broken in correctly, that's why if you watch almost any like interview with a good luthier, ukulele maker, guitar maker, doesn't matter. Yeah. The wood that went to this ukulele, for example, sat around as pieces of wood for years before anybody even thought about turning this into an ukulele. A video that I've watched a bunch of times is Rob Scallon going to have a classical guitar made with Marshall Brunet, and he was showing his room of fingerboards, and it was already pre-cut and everything like that, and they were just in giant stacks being pressed down flat, and the fingerboards sit in his climate-controlled room for 7 years. before they even think about using them. He said some of the fingerboards have been here, since like the late 80s.
Yeah.
And and this video is only like a year old, so it's been and what they're trying to do is control the humidity in it. So on the lower end ukuleles, that's something to be mindful for. It's something you're going to encounter more often.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you encounter it in the store, that really means that whatever company that was did not age that wood at all. And I would probably guess that most offshore makers don't, just for time and money's sake.
Yeah.
They don't have a room that they can let fingerboard sit around for 7 years before they use it on an ukulele. That's not cost effective. Whereas I would guess Guitalele, I would guess that this fingerboard probably sat in the storeroom there for years, 5+, before Joe even looked at it and even thought about making something out of it.
Yeah, they definitely cure, their woods, but also like the kind of wood that you you
Absolutely.
get makes a big difference because some woods will shrink more than others. So this being ebony, like
Does not
ebony's
shrink a whole lot.
pretty hard and dense wood, so it's not going to shrink that much.
Yeah, the softer the wood, the more in and out you'll
Yeah.
get.
So usually like fingerboards or what, like maple, mahogany, rosewood, like those kind of.
Well, maple's a different story because most maple fingerboards, they put a finish on it. Because maple is soft enough, especially on a guitar, that if you use an unfinished maple fingerboard, you will start
Bowing.
gouging. And most of them put like a clear coat finish over it, which does protect that somewhat. Mahogany, rosewood, they are not as hard as like an ebony, so there will be more. I mean, I think anybody who's ever seen an old ukulele. Matter of fact, I had a guy bring 2 old ukuleles into the store. It was pretty cool.
was like
White label Kamaki soprano,
all koa.
all beautiful koa, and then he had a 60s Martin, all mahogany, both sopranos, really beautiful ukuleles.
But that's why a lot of like gold label kamakas and white, it's like some white label kamakas will like have the neck kind of snapped. It's because it was made with all koa, and koa is like kind of a softer wood, So I think by the time, like I guess late 90s, like they started doing like mahogany necks rather than like all koa made.
Yeah, and different fretboard too. Yeah.
Yeah, and with Guitalele, like I think with Guitalele they made ebony fingerboard standard. I think that's like on all
That's
the
a good
models
choice,
now. Yeah,
honestly.
because it's just that. I think they want to eliminate as many of that happening as possible.
Yeah.
With the,
And ebony is probably one of the hardest woods you can get.
yeah.
That would actually be good. I'm sure there's harder woods out there, but I don't know that would make good fingerboards.
I want to ask a question specifically for you, Mike.
Okay.
And I feel like I don't know how honest you can be.
Oh, God.
All right.
I feel like a lot of beginners go into stores to find their first instrument. How do they know that the store rep is like saying the truth? Is there red flags? Like as a store rep yourself, what would give you red flags of like, I don't know if I should buy or listen to this person. They're telling me all these things are good and all these things are bad. These are the things to look out for.
I can only tell you from my perspective, like what I do. So the first thing I do is if you come into my store, I'm going to ask you about 1 million questions. Because I'm not the one who's going to be playing this instrument. You are. So I'm going to ask you all sorts of stuff, and then I'm going to have you play a lot of things. So I guess the first thing you want to look for with a store rep is you want to see how much they're listening to you. If they don't listen to you, if they don't really listen to you about what it is you're looking for, and the thing is, and it's not just, oh, well, I want this size with this wood, blah, 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 blah. It's also like ask questions about, they should be asking questions like, so if you're a beginner, you don't know a lot of these things. So you come in and you're like, well, I don't know about these different woods and stuff like that. And they should have patience, take the time, explain what the difference between this wood and this wood. What does it do to the sound? If they have 2 of the same ukulele but with different woods, they should allow you to play them both. They should play them both for you so you can kind of hear what they sound like. I would probably say the first red flag So the really big red flag is if they're not listening. If the store rep isn't listening to what you're saying, like, hey, I don't know. Like, if their first answer is, like, hey, I want to play my first ukulele. I don't really know anything about ukuleles. And if they just grab one off the wall and said, oh, well, then this is the one you should buy. Well, okay. I mean, they could just be trying to be efficient, but to me, I would never do that to somebody.
Yeah.
I would say, okay, well, tell me what you're looking for. It's okay that there's a lot of stuff you don't know, but tell me what you do. And even you don't have to tell me specifics. Like most people who walk into my store can't tell me like specifics. So I want a 17-inch scale and a this and a that. Most of them can't do that, but most of them can tell me, well, I want an ukulele that sounds really like old school traditional ukulele. I listen to like a ton of like anti-Genoa. Find me an ukulele that within my price range that can sound the closest to that. Okay. Or if someone tells me, hey, I want to sound like Aldrin Guerrero. I sell him one of his, but the thing is, like, since I know how Aldrin plays and I have an idea of what you do, like I know that, hey, we're probably looking for a tenor size. We're looking for higher tension strings. So here's an example of that. What do you think? And that should be also something you should also help the customers. The rep should also be helping the customers work through these things. Meaning, like, well, you said you wanted this, so here. It's like, okay, this is what you thought you wanted.
Yeah.
So here it is in front of you.
Yeah.
Now let's play it. And is it really what you thought it was? Because, for example, if someone is a rank beginner, here's Aldrin play, and then wants something set up exactly like him, he has a very specific style. Everything on this ukulele or his production signatures was built very specifically for him and how he plays. And that person does not have his hands. They don't have his skill. They don't have his experience. So if someone tells me they're a giant fan of yours, I'll let them play your signature model with has his signature strings on it. And I said, this is exactly like what he plays. And they might play it and it's like, oh man, these strings they're rough on my hands because they're
my
so
fingies.
I know my little piggies. Because they're so tense and so tight. But obviously he needs that because he's going at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And if he had looser, lower tension strings, he'd get hung up. But, and so it's stuff like that. You want to work with that. So if the person does not listen to you and they're not willing to help you work through all the things you would like, I would say that's pretty big red flags.
How do you deal with, say you go to a music store and you're like, oh, I'm looking for an ukulele, and then they go, shh, you should play guitar instead. And they try to sell you a Guitalele or something.
You know what's better? A baritone. You don't want to play those small ukuleles. You want to play a baritone.
Because check it out. Let me play a little something. And then because they're guitar players, they're like, oh, see, it sounds so good. It sounds so much better. So awesome.
I think that
I'm like imagining an Yngwie Malmsteen with the long curly hair. He's doing this.
I picture you more as Steve Vai in Crossroads.
I guess so. Yeah.
I would probably say that immediately goes under the first blurred flag. They're not listening to you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, admittedly, I will do the same thing. If someone says, "Well, I was thinking about ukulele, but maybe guitar. I don't know." I said, "Okay, well, you know what? We're going to put both of them in your hand, and I'm going to tell you the pros and cons of doing each one. Like if you want this giant, full range sound, maybe you want to go with the guitar. 2 more strings, it kind of helps.
Yeah.
If you want something, but if you say like, well, I want something that is really easy that I can just learn just a couple chords, pick up, play with my friends, and then I hang it back on the wall. I'm always going to go towards ukulele because the thing I love about ukulele is the learning curve on ukulele is only as steep as you make it. Yeah. I know plenty, and anybody in here knows plenty of people that they know 7 chords, have no interest in learning an 8th.
Yeah,
and they go to their ukulele group every week, and
they gig every week.
Why are you calling me out, Mike? Come on.
But there's tons of those. And the thing is that they absolutely love it.
Yeah,
It's
that's fine.
fulfilling
Yeah.
what they wanted. And so with guitar, it's a little bit harder. One thing I do say is that with the great part about the ukulele, as it's primarily a strummer's instrument, is that you can learn just 5 basic chords and it unlocks like 1,000 songs plus.
Yeah.
If you learn other instruments, I mean, guitar is somewhat along that line. It's
Yeah.
just more complicated because there's 6 instead of 4. But as he well knows, he plays piano. He is not piano underground, but let me tell you, he plays piano pretty darn good now.
Hey, whoa,
And-
hey. Thank you.
And the thing he would probably tell you is that learning a song on piano, especially classically, does not by any means get you to play the next song.
Oh, are you comparing me to the 7-chord guy? So I'm the 7-chord guy, piano-wise? Is that what you're
No.
trying to say?
Because you're past the No, but here's what I'm saying.
I'm like,
If-
wait a
if-
minute, that's an insult.
Hey, I know
Let
8
me-
chords.
I
Excuse me.
related back to ukulele.
Okay.
I related back to ukulele.
Okay.
If you learned how to play guava jam
Yeah,
on ukulele, that does not teach you how to play Europa.
it's true.
In many ways, that won't even really help you in a lot of ways play Europa because they're so different. Piano, especially coming up the classic way, this is why this is not you, because you didn't come up classically.
okay.
But if you come up classically and you learn how to play canon in D, and then you want to play Bach's Prelude in C, okay, you have a better idea where the notes are, but it certainly doesn't teach you how to play the next thing. So a lot of instruments, their learning curve is a lot higher because of that, because each song is almost like a whole new thing. Now, ukulele, it's that sort of thing where you learn, the 5 chords of doom, and you can play this song, and then you can play this song, and then you can play this song.
500 other songs.
And 500 other
Yeah,
songs.
you can go
And
to a
just-
ukulele club and just...
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the most simplest way possible, you just those 5 chords with the heartbeat strum we use on Friday Jam, and you can go through tons of songs.
Yeah.
And you can be really happy with that for a really long time.
Yeah.
And some people, like I said, some people never get past that point, and you know what? That's fine.
It's fine.
Because they're
Okay.
having fun. And the best part is, if I know those 5 chords, and now I'm gonna try and find a song that has like a B flat in it, which is a notoriously tough chord.
Yeah.
You're gonna struggle with that. It's gonna be tough. No lying. But it also means that once you get frustrated with that, and like I do tell with my students, when you get really frustrated, stop.
Yeah.
Do something else for a second.
Yeah. Play Breath of the Wild.
But another while, find a new shrine. But you could also then pick up your, just switch modes, go back to those 5 chords, pick a new song that you don't, you've heard but you've never played before, that still utilizes those 5, and you can relax yourself by playing that. So if you're doing that, you could be playing, I'm Yours by Jason Mraz, and if you kind of got that down, you got the strum, you could use those same chords in that same order and then play Don't Stop Believing by Journey. So if in the middle you're trying to play something that has like a really tough chord, the B flat, the infamous E, which I still can't do. I mean, I can, I'm just honest. But you could, if I'm doing I'm Yours and I'm working on that and I'm starting to get frustrated, I'm getting I could stop, grab my ukulele, look up another 5 chord song. Oh, Don't Stop Believing. I know that one. Play that one for 20 minutes. Be super happy. It's like, okay, back to work.
I mean, I asked that question only because, like, through the private lessons, they're always asking, like, do you do like Guitalele like stuff or like baritone stuff? Because like they're like, oh, I was looking for an ukulele at the music store, but the guy told me like, oh, play this instead because this is, like, and then you could graduate to a guitar, and it's like, and then I have to kind of talk to them like, is that what you wanted? Like, is graduating to guitar like your goal, or is that just kind of what they set for you?
See, and I even hate that choice of language by
graduate to a
salespeople.
guitar.
Graduate to a guitar.
So like, and then I tell them that like, hey, this is your private lesson. Like you can do whatever you want. Like I have baritone, like I have a baritone ukulele. We can work on baritone stuff. I have a GL6. We can work on Guitalele stuff if that's that's what you're looking for. But really, like we kind of want to concentrate on playing ukulele. Like that's what we want to do. So and I hear that a lot. And it's not just like once or twice. I get that a lot. of like, you know, of the students are like, well, the person said I should try this, so I'm trying this, because they're like, oh, you know, you're like a bigger person, so like maybe you playing a baritone might be worth, like, yo, like, is Kamakaviva only played like, you know,
He did. Now, keep in
ukulele.
mind that when I'm helping people,
Yeah.
that is a concern with me.
Yeah.
A good example is there was a guy who came in a year and a half ago, and he giant. You guys met him. He was the guy who ran the bike company.
Oh.
The giant dude.
Okay.
from the
Yeah.
band.
Yeah.
And his hands are like Polish sausages.
Okay.
And so anytime he was trying to do anything under a baritone size, and even at baritone, he was like having to do this with his hand. So I did a high tune baritone with him, mostly just for comfort. For comfort. That was, you know.
But then that's like an outlier.
Yeah, more so.
Yeah.
But
But even
and so for me, guitaleles and baritone ukuleles, you can think of them two ways. To me, you can think of them as transitional instruments,
Yeah.
or you can think of them instruments on their own, and they're both equally valid. So, like for example, the guitarist who comes to me
Yeah.
and says, "I want to do ukulele." First, I'm going to give him this,
Yeah.
okay? And if they say, "Wow, I love the sound of this, but man, it is so hard to remember to not put my those two
Yeah.
strings on." Here, you can try this.
Guitar.
Does that help you? You know, does that help you by removing that? And sometimes they do. It's like, and then sometimes they'll say,
Right.
"No, you know what? I mean,
Yeah.
I dig this thing,
That's
but
part of the listening thing. Yeah, you're listening to the customer.
yeah, but I really wanted to do an ukulele. I love that sound." It's like, cool. We'll stick with that.
Well, because a lot of the times I feel like they buy what the person is selling, and then like they have buyer's remorse when they start like kind of diving into it. We're like, well, it seemed like a good idea at the time, but then once I start kind of getting into it, it's like, this isn't really what I wanted. I was convinced at the store that this
Yeah.
is, like, this is what's good for me, but as soon as I start playing, it's not, it's not
Not what I
exactly the
was hoping.
sound that I was hoping
and that's
for.
another. I guess that would be another red flag. Is that a good salesperson should
sell you
should
anything.
talk. A good salesman should talk you through all your choices.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, so if you came in and said, "I'm a guitarist and I want to play ukulele, but I love the sound, but I'm having a real hard time because I played guitar for so long, my fingers are just going to places that there's no strings." I said, "Okay, and so you can try this, but keep in mind there is going to be a slight difference in sound because we did add 2 strings, and there, this is the advantages you're gaining. These are the disadvantages with going this route for that." And I try and do make all that clear for that person. It's like, if you decide to go the Guitalele route, you are helping to solve a problem in the short term,
Yeah.
but in the long term, you're not getting exactly what you came in for. And the question is, how set were you on that mentality? Like, if someone who comes in and says, like, "I want a high tuned, ukulele, and it has to be this and has to be that," they're super sure. I was like, okay, well, here's all the stuff that goes along with that, And the baritone is, I think of it the same way. I prefer to think of the baritone as just the lowest tuned family in a choir. You know what I mean? Like to me, I picture, and I would love to see like a group where you have like a couple of sopranos, a couple concerts, a couple tenors, and the baritone just kind of holding that rhythm down.
Yeah,
But I do understand when someone plays guitar or even an ukulele that wants to move to guitar. I do ask them, what do you think you might have issues with? Is it the physical gymnastics that's harder, or is the mental gymnastics that's harder?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like, if that person were to come to me, say, like in a private lesson and stuff, and saying that, like, oh, and they're playing ukulele, like, oh, my fingers just, just go to these places because I play guitar and stuff. My advice would be just let them go to those places. You're gonna hear, like, if it's right or if it's wrong or if it matches the song that you're doing. But just let your fingers do what it wants to do. Like, if you play guitar before and you're playing that, like if you're playing that G like this and you're at the top of, like you don't have the top ones, then just play whatever the top string. Then you'll come up with like a different sound. You're like, okay, well, that sounds good, but that's not what we're looking for here. And your brain will tell you that, like, okay, let's keep that in the back burner. Like, I like how that sounds, but that's not what it is. Like, let your fingers experiment. Like, I always tell my students that once you get your basic chords in, experiment with adding one more finger in there, and your brain will tell you if it sounds good or not. So say for example C. If you play C, you have these 3 fingers on the fretboard. You can play like maybe this note. You can add that. That sounds awesome. Maybe this note. You can maybe this note, that note. And if you add a note that doesn't sound too good, maybe this one right here on the second note. You hear it, but that
Shirley
but
T?
put it in the put it in the back burner. You're like, okay, well, that doesn't sound good with this song, but always experiment. When you play the G chord, your pinky finger is available to do all kinds of stuff. Because now, so next time you play a C chord, you're in your ukulele club or whatever, everybody's playing C, everybody's doing this, right? Then you're like, nah, I don't want to just play C for like 16 measures or whatever. You can always go. During Aloha Friday Live Jam, you guys always see me add little things, and the only way that you're going to learn how to do that is to just try it out. And it doesn't matter if you know scales or if you know what the note is or the chord is called. It's like you don't need to know that chord is like a C with like sus2 or add 9 or a flat whatever this or 13 that. Don't worry about it. Just play it. If it sounds good, and it sounds good, you don't have to know what it sounds like in order to use that chord. If it sounds good in that song, by all means, go do it, because your brain will tell you if it doesn't. Or, Abe Legreem's will. That doesn't belong there, But
he knows how to make every note fit with every other note on the planet.
But that's the thing. Like, I think, people who play guitar, will always have like these tendencies to like, okay, well, like I want to, like I'm really good at guitar, so I want to play ukulele like I do with the guitar because I'm really good at playing guitar. I want to be really good at playing ukulele. No, it's 2 different instruments. Like, they're similar, yes, but you have to put in the time on the ukulele like that you did with the guitar. You can't just automatically go like, okay, well, I'm gonna choose something closer to a guitar because that's kind of what I'm used to. But it's just like, that's just you playing a smaller guitar. Like, if you want to learn how to play ukulele, learn how to play ukulele. I guess as an ukulele player, as a purist, or whatever you want to, whatever you want to call me, I feel that like it does deserve its own respect of like learning this instrument. It's not about like transferring your techniques over. Whereas like, yes, you can transfer techniques over, but you still have to learn that ukulele, even just holding it, even the form is completely different from holding a guitar. And because one of its sheer size difference, so I think that's what people are misunderstanding. I think like a lot of people try to like stick to their comfort zone if they're guitar players. Like, okay, well, I want to stick close to like what I know, which is guitar. But I feel that like, well, you're not really, you're just like kind of dipping your toe into the ukulele pool. Like, just go for it, and we have to agree to disagree with the size thing, because I have a tiny ukulele, like this tiny, and that plays. I'm a compared to that ukulele, I'm a huge human, and it plays. So really, it's just about how you position your fingers. If you're talking about sausage hands, I have long, huge hands for a guy who's 5'3", and I play, and I still play that tiny sopranissimo ukulele that I have, and it works out just fine. Or even just like a regular sopranissimo for like, in comparison to my hands, like it's a pretty tiny ukulele, but I'll play guava jam on it, like, and it turns out and sounds fine. It's all about how you position your fingers and how you approach that instrument. So if like a lot of the times people will kind of use things like, oh, this is too small or this is too big, to kind of like cover up something that they like didn't want to work for. Like, if how much time did you spend with with that ukulele? How much practice did you put in? Because your fingers will naturally like start to get it, like they'll start to like contour to what the instrument needs. So that's whatever specific instrument you're playing. I think that's That's my as a teacher, and I've seen like a lot of people come to me, and a lot of people with that question. That's why I bring it up.
Well, there's a different perspective there, because you are teaching people how to play it, and I'm trying to sell them.
Yes.
No, and there's a real argument.
Yeah.
Not, is that when
This is good.
I do talk about size when people are buying an ukulele for the first time, because I want them to have the best chance to get off on a good foot.
Yeah, that's true. Very good.
So if you have sausage hand dude, and I send him off with a soprano.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: you can play that soprano, and I've seen it. The thing is tiny as hell. That dude would never be able to play that, no matter what position you ever put his hand in, because literally one of his fingers would cover 3 strings. So unless you open tune it and he's just doing slide, it would never happen. So what I would love to do, what I'm trying to do as a salesperson, and maybe this is something, is that, and I do send a lot of people here, obviously, to him. What I would like to do is when I send them out my door, I want them to have an ukulele that provides the least amount of impediment, so the most amount of work gets the most done.
Yeah. You just want to start enjoying music already. Like any way for you to just enjoy any instrument.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, so then when they come to him, yes, it's true that if you're meant to me, right? If you're meant to play tenor and you play in concert, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
You can totally do it. You can adjust your hand position and stuff like. But being that generally a concert and a tenor aren't that far apart in price, usually $10 to $20 a month, I would rather send them out the door with a tenor because it's more from that beginning. They have some of that comfort, and that adjustment doesn't have to be as much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And their hand will acclimate to that just a little bit faster.
Yeah, I agree.
Because of that hand position and that size thing.
Yeah.
The thing is, when they hit to a guy like you, then and also keep in mind, you're the one who then can look at them on that screen and say like, okay, so that finger needs to do that. That hand needs to do that. And then they really will start to really. So yes, it is true that sometimes people would make excuses of that because they don't have the technique to get around that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, from my perspective, I only have like 10 minutes to get someone out of door. Generally, I only have 10 minutes to get them out with the instrument I think is going to give them the best running start.
Yeah.
So that when they hit their first teacher, like there's all these things that they could have figured out, or there's less. It's not even like a head start. It's more like there's just less impediments.
Well, like my side is, but like so when they say say they come to me, they sign up for Ukulele Underground and stuff. And they come up and they show up with their their GL6 or their baritones. Like I will teach, like I said earlier, I will teach a baritone, I will teach GL6. I have no problem doing that kind of stuff. But then it isn't really like ukulele. Like that's a completely different instrument rather than GL6 is it's just
a mini
ukulele by it's a mini guitar, really. Like it's you lose a lot of the charm of the ukulele, the techniques, some of the sound that you would normally get with an ukulele. So I feel that like if a person was going in wanting an ukulele, and that's kind of like, okay, I decided, this next phase in my life, whatever age I may be, I'm gonna learn how to play ukulele. And then you walk out with, with a baritone or a GL6, and it's just kind of like, okay, well, like this, I guess I settled for this, instead of what I really want to do.
The GL6 is a completely different thing.
Yeah.
Baritone. So like that same guy, right? He really wanted this sound.
Yeah.
But he was the most comfortable holding a baritone. Fine. So I changed the strings.
Tight, yeah.
Well, I mean,
what kind of gauges did you use? Because you tuned the baritone ukulele GCEA, just to make it clear.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
I just used Akila's high tuned baritone set.
Oh, nice. So Aquila has that.
Yes, they have a DGBE and a GCA set,
What?
and several. Guitalele does.
What other string sets does Ukulele make?
Well, the one that I show off, I keep the package next to it.
Oh, hey.
There is an AGAQ set.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah, developed over many years with one of the world's premier ukulele players.
Is that what it says in the back?
Oh no, that's what I said.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
No,
Nice.
on the back.
Sell it, baby.
On the back of it, they say something like designed with, world-class ukulele teacher.
Something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
something.
It was Jean-Luc who wrote that stuff in the back. I'm like, this is nice, I guess. Like, seems a little gauche, but
Okay, whatever. But the Aquila and I believe Guitalele both make low and high tune baritone sets.
nice.
So if someone does want that,
yeah, that's good.
Totally
I'm down for
can.
that. I'm down for that. Just
Totally
because,
can do that.
yeah, just because like I don't want people missing out on the sounds like that an ukulele can make, like, because if you play baritone, yes, you're playing baritone ukulele, and it is, some people might argue it is still an ukulele, but there is that kind of like that feeling that you get when playing even just like a re-entered ukulele. You're like,
that's a very different thing.
Yeah, right.
Obviously, like most people, I mean, the few ukuleles I own, yes,
Yeah.
I have re-entrant and I have low G.
Hoity-toity.
yeah.
Sir, I have both.
I've been to your house, whatever.
Here's an ukulele from the 19 whatever.
But yeah, I mean, if someone is really looking for that, and those are the type of things someone can work out.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, I feel really comfortable holding this baritone, but man, I really want this. No, we can make that happen.
This is good.
I think
Bust out the high tune baritone strings, get it on there, tune it up, and that guy particular,
You stoked.
he was super stoked. He
good.
said I was able to play exactly what I wanted
That's
to
good.
play.
That's good.
And I was comfortable playing it.
Good.
Because he had tried to play it on a tenor several
Yeah.
times.
And
his hands just kept
kept sausaging all over it.
sausaging.
Is that Kai?
Yeah, I think the difference between like the people who come and they're like, oh, I got talked into this baritone or this GL6, and like Mike, right, is like you wouldn't like if the person was like had bigger fingers, but they're like, I love this soprano or I love this concert. I really want this soprano or concert. You wouldn't be like, no, that's not for you.
Yeah.
Like try to talk them out of it, right?
No, I would
No,
just
no,
say,
no.
okay, just so your understanding, try this, try these chords. Okay, see that feeling? It will improve with technique, but there's a limit, to how much extra comfort you're going to get out of good technique here, at least to me. But if this sounds the way you want it to, and everything like that, and it checks all the boxes for you, hey.
Okay, I do have to make a statement here.
Oh.
I'm not discouraging people from playing baritone and GL6. I play them myself. And
Yes.
like I said, I will teach. If you come to a private lesson with those things, I'll be... And I've had a bunch of students come with those instruments and they're...
I've watched him gig on baritone.
That's right, I did. So, I love it. And like you said, I 1000% agree that like the baritone is just the lowest voice in that choir.
Yes.
So, and a lot of my videos, like back in, I guess, 2019 when I was making, or no, I guess 2021, something like that. Like when I was making YouTube videos that year, I used a lot of baritone
that
and
baritone I've
GL6
used a lot.
because it's like it's something that that is a voice that belongs in that ukulele spectrum. So I'm not saying that like, oh, never get that, always play tenor concert or soprano. So that's not it. But I think the representation as far as like if you want to learn how to play ukulele, like I think picking up one of those three and then maybe going to an offshoot like a GL6 or a baritone might be a good idea. But if you want to learn how to play how to play the ukulele, I think that's a great place to start, is one of those, or a baritone tuned up to GCEA. Yeah.
Well, keep in mind too that when you tune a baritone to the DGBE tuning, its job is changing.
Yeah.
I
true.
think that's probably
That's
really what he's saying.
Good answer. Good answer. That's a good
A
answer.
DGBE tuned baritone, its job is different
Yes.
in the group than a GCEA tuned baritone. A GCEA tuned baritone is aiming for a slightly fuller, but because it has the re-entry tuning, it's going to do the job of one of the higher. It's going to fall into that section. I don't think if you went to see like one of those big ukulele orchestras that's out there, You're not going to see the baritone player doing like the pull-offs and stuff like that. That's not their job. You know what I mean? Admittedly, someone who's with the high, maybe they will, but that's the thing. It's so no, he's not down in the baritone, but he's just saying that like what this does.
If you're down to learn ukulele, like this is what you should start with.
Yeah, like if you like realistically, if we had his baritone here right now, and I asked him to play Guava Jam on that, you could, but it wouldn't sound right.
No, yeah.
The sound would be different because...
Is that a challenge? It's not a challenge.
Next week on Micro Request.
I could do it. I would probably pull the original, like Peter Moon Guava Jam that's played on guitar and play it on the baritone. You're like, this is more Guava Jam than the ukulele Guava Jam because this is the OG Peter Moon with the Peter Moon Band Guava Jam.
All right.
I think from the conversation, what I realized is like obviously Mike is probably my favorite store rep on Kauai for like biased reasons, right? But like I think I realized that what makes Mike a great like store rep or like anybody is like when you go in, you shouldn't feel pressured to leave without an instrument. If you feel like this store rep like is just trying to get me to leave with an instrument, try and like really think about like, is this the one I want, or am I just getting pressured into it?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm really big with that because as someone who I've been
You're also a teacher too.
I'm also a teacher too, so that takes a big priority. So I'm big on making sure people get at least what I think might be good starter instruments. But for me also is I was a musician for 20 years before I was salesman of music instruments. And I know every time I walked into a store where it was like, you could tell every guy in the store was on commission. And it was like, there was no hourly rate. It's what you sold, sell. Guys like that. And I get it. But at the same time, like, that never worked for me.
You know people like that?
Absolutely. I know
people who have music houses. No, we should do like an undercover. Like you should go to like a music center or a guitar center in the mainland and just like put on like one of those fake mustaches. Excuse me, I am looking to learn how to play ukulele.
No, you can't do that then. Excuse me, I need to learn how to play the ukulele.
Oh yeah,
do you have one?
Oh snap! See, you're like, I tried learning a long time ago. I had one of those jumping gym books, and I just kind of want to go beyond that now.
We should drag everything.
Oh, those are great. I didn't say anything bad about the jumping gym is the best. I love that guy.
Everybody's name into.
I was gonna say we should go to like multiple stores and see how much of them like immediately the sales rep tries to go like, oh, you should learn baritone or you should learn this.
That would be an interesting and then like a tickle. Baritone.
Add another one to the count, right?
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, it's it's a lot of like the private students on UU Plus. Not a lot. I would say maybe like 5%, but just still a lot. They'll come, but then a lot of them like will choose baritone by choice. Where like I used to play like soprano, concert, or tenor, and but I kind of wanted to start learning baritone, or I just like the sound of the baritone. Legit, that's awesome, or we got people like I'm gonna name names again, Sue and Chris and Sue. They have like a tenor and a baritone because they play as a duo and they want that kind of sound, of that full kind of full spectrum of sound and notes and stuff. And that's awesome. So like I'm more than down to teach that. I'm not like I'm not judging anybody coming in with a baritone, but it does it does matter to me if like someone's looking to get started with an ukulele. And walking out with a GL6, that's kind of like, oh man, that's like you missed out on that magic,
I think we always like when we have this conversation before, it always comes down to like it's more a judgment on the people who are selling the baritone or stuff if they like force somebody to buy it, right? Just because like, oh, I'm a guitar player, so you should buy this because I think this is the best instrument. It's like, and it really comes down to what Mike said, where it's like, make sure that the person is listening to your wants and needs and trying to help you out with that.
That's a great way.
And that's kind of true for everything. I mean, that's the same thing with being a good teacher.
It's true. It's like, we're learning this now. Like, I kind of don't want to play Jake's songs. Like, no, well, this is what you're learning.
And the thing is, obviously, like, and there's some parallels in that when you go to a good teacher or you go to a good salesperson, they're going to give you, should hope they're going to give you the benefit of whatever experience they have.
Yeah.
Like when I talk about stuff like that to people and stuff like that, it's like, okay, this is me being around great ukulele players and everything I've learned in my last 20, 30 years of being around education and what suggestions I'm making to help make your journey a little easier. Same thing with you, and just mine is in the realm of like, I'm helping you pick the instrument I think is going to get out of your way the most. Yeah. You're the one who's going to say like, oh, I want to learn this. Okay, but you have to learn this because this grows into
I don't want to. I don't want to. I just want to learn while my guitar gently weeps.
Cool. Now let me show you all the things that went into that.
No. I don't want that's boring.
Can you just like show me the tabs? Can you just like move my hands for me?
Can you just Professor X into my head?
Yeah, just,
Can you Matrix into my brain and teach me Kung Fu?
I know Jake's songs.
That would be an interesting side episode of The Matrix.
Okay.
Just get the one guy who goes undercover in The Matrix as just a musician. So they just upload every instrument, every song into his head ever.
I saw that that Apple has that Vision Pro thing,
Yes.
like, yo, I want to see the first musician who goes on stage with one of those things on and all the tabs are like are on the Vision Pro and they're just doing a concert and the music is there. I think that's the future, man. Like imagine going to band, like a high school band, and instead of having the music stands, it's just all these headsets that the students are
with
wearing.
a side screen so they can see the conductor.
Yeah, exactly. But on the side, they're watching their favorite Twitch streamer. They're not paying attention. You know what I mean? Or watching Alcaraz lose to Djokovic on this side, on the right side. Which, by the way, what a shame.
You just see
what a shame. Sorry for the people who haven't seen it yet. Spoilers: Djokovic wins.
You just see
that's
oboist
tennis, right?
in the middle of a concert stand up and yeah. Oh, sorry.
I actually saw something like that happen. We were doing a musical. I don't even remember. And I'll name him because I haven't seen him in forever. Joe Ruskowski, you were playing trumpet, and you had your tiny little TV watching the World Series.
Oh, we should have this. We should have this this segment on the podcast. So Mike calls out. Mike calls out students. Mike calls out salespeople.
Oh,
Mike calls out.
Joe is a professor at UA. So he was there and he was playing his trumpet and he didn't miss anything. I just saw one time he was playing and he's kind of doing that. And also
got a little enthusiastic. Too enthusiastic.
Yeah, hit a wrestling. And I'm all the way on the other side of the orchestra behind my drums and like, somebody hit a home run.
It's we're playing Farandole right now. We're not playing Gonna Fly now. We're playing Farandole. This is classical.
I just thought it was hilarious because nobody else really saw it. Nobody's looking down at us, but just because we're looking at each other, so it's hilarious.
Yeah.
In the middle of the song is da 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 da.
That's it. That's the future. That's the future, man. That Vision Pro thing. I was like, there's so much uses for that. But I mean, no one's gonna shell out $3,500 in the beginning, but I'm looking forward to when that becomes kind of consumer.
So for those of you
hot dang
who come to Kauai to watch Aldrin's show,
I'm
if
gonna have
you
that
keep
headset.
signing for Ukulele Underground Plus, eventually you're gonna see him and Aaron with these headsets on.
And that's how that's how the Aloha Friday Live Jam will be, so that I don't have to ask for coffee. It'll just be on my headset.
The screen is just what you see in your head. It's like, Kahai, give me those chords. Boom.
Oh, that's right. I can still give me the coffee, but instead of me looking over there, genius, genius. See, we're hip. We're with it. We're with
Absolutely.
we're current with the current things, right? Right, Kahai? We're with
Yeah.
yeah.
Get ready for our next jam in the metaverse.
Yeah, we're cool. Trust I heard
You
people
get-
say that. Yo,
you're
let
gonna-
us cook. Huh?
Yeah,
That's what that's what the kids
you can
say.
have all those statues as your icons in the metaverse, and
Yo.
like your little alternate icons, and go, "Hi, welcome to the Ukulele Friday Jam."
I think they might be a little too high poly for the metaverse.
Yeah, it's kind of mid.
Friday Meta Jam.
But yeah, so this has been fun. That was
Absolutely.
great. I learned a lot from you from this episode. So thank you for that. Any businesses that we need to attend to before we
Yes.
yes,
So-
Kahai.
Before we go, let's pick a winner for the songwriting.
Yes. Okay, cool. Let's bring out the wheel. So this wheel has all the people.
There we go.
All 5,000 of them that entered a song, and we'll send them a nice prize pack. Okay. So who do we have? Chris and Sue. We have Hamsini, and I can't read that last. It's upside down.
Hania?
Huh?
Hania? I think?
Hania. Okay, sorry, it was upside down. All right, so we're gonna whoever it lands on, they'll get a nice little prize pack from Ukulele Underground. Okay, and so if you guys want in on this, next time we do a songwriting challenge, just participate. That's really all it is. You don't gotta write like a Grammy Award winning song or anything like that. Just write. We just want to hear you be creative. That's all. Just be creative. Write something based on the parameters that we put together, and you get your name put on
I
there.
should also point in that I heard 2 of these,
Nice.
and both were instrumentals. So if you want to write a song and you get nervous because you're like, oh, but I don't know how to do lyrics.
Yeah.
Write an instrumental. That's completely cool.
That's why, when Kahai, I know Kahai has put together some songs with lyrics on them and stuff for the songwriting challenges, but for the most part, Kahai does instrumentals. So, yeah, like just that as an example. Like,
Just don't be intimidated by
yeah,
that.
don't worry about it.
I want to write the instrumentals, and I'll just give it to Aaron. Aaron can write the lyric stuff.
You can.
Don't worry about that.
All right, so Mr. Casey Kasem with Sad Hulk music.
Da-na-na-na.
Please.
As he walks into the distance, Kahai's gonna spin that wheel.
Oh, okay.
A little NPR at the end. Yeah.
Right on the line.
Oh, Hania, hey, Hania, congratulations. Where are they from, Kai? You know?
I don't know. This is somebody who sent in their stuff like in an
Nice.
email. So
Nice. Yeah, nice. Congratulations. Congratulations.
That's the other 2. The songs I heard were very good.
Yeah, these are people who participate all the time. That's why it's just like, their skills are just getting better and better. I'm just like, oh, it's impressive. Like Chris and Sue, they write songs all the time. Of course, Hamsini writes all the time. They're great. They're great. So it's nice to see somebody new and somebody new winning it. Actually.
Hey, that's
Yeah, it saves. So that's why I was asking where they're from, because Kahai is like, oh, do I have to send something to India?
I've done it before.
Yeah, we make good with our promises. Like at least Kahai makes good with his promises. He'll send stuff.
Kahai makes good with your problem.
I'll send it out. It might take 6 months to get to you, but I'll send it out.
He sent it. He said,
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. He
It's
sent
the
it.
postage,
Okay.
the
Yeah,
postage.
there you go. All right. Any other business? In a couple weeks, we are going to be in East Lansing, Michigan for the Mighty Uke Day East Lansing, Michigan. Kahai, what is the exact date on that?
I believe it is.
So Aaron and I will come up. Aaron will be doing his first ever songwriting workshop. Kahai mentioned earlier, they're like, hey, I'll just write the instrumental and Aaron will write the lyrics because Aaron's amazing.
Yep.
You know what? He is, and you can learn directly from Aaron the voice. He's been kind of quiet this whole episode, just absorbing everything. But Aaron the voice Nakamura, amazing songwriter, one of the best, if not the best. He's so good. I had him write for my album. he has written for me. And I write songs, and I'm like, but it's not quite an Aaron song. So Aaron wrote like the best song on that album. So that's it. Learn from the best. Register now over at mightyukeday.com. That is June 23rd to the 25th this month. That's in like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks or something. It is very, 2 weeks, exactly 2 weeks. Not next Friday, but the Friday after, which means there is no podcast on the 23rd. Okay, no podcasts, and also no live coaching because I can't do it while I'm away. I don't know if Mike wants to. I mean, you don't have to. I'm just saying.
Podcast or
No,
live
no.
coaching?
Both.
Make me do that.
Both. I guess Kahai's here. You could do the live coaching, right? Kahai, you can
What are
also
we
go,
doing,
right?
Mike? Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom?
We're gonna do a Breath of the Wild live stream, guys.
I think
I'm gonna go ahead.
I'll play Tears of the Kingdom. You play Breath of the Wild. It'll be on the same screen.
Yeah, there you go.
we'll do
Yeah,
that.
put it on your headset, one on the left and one on the right, right?
Oh my god! If we only had that Apple thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for that. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna shell out $3,500 like on the first one, and I don't know if I want the headaches that come with it, like the literal headaches that'll come with putting that on your face. I'll wait for 3rd gen until they get all the bugs.
Yeah,
out.
don't ever.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big thing. Tech. Don't ever buy first gen stuff.
All right, so that's where we're gonna be. Aaron and I are gonna go. We're gonna be doing workshops. I'll be doing a few workshops. Aaron is going to be doing a songwriting workshop. That's something that I might go to. You know, like I'm probably gonna go to. I want to learn.
I think we have a workshop at the same time.
That sucks. I mean,
He's gonna heckle
it's
you.
so good.
I was gonna say he's gonna heckle you with questions.
No. Why? Okay, whoever's gonna go, just go to his. Like, I wouldn't even feel offended. Like, if you don't go to mine and you go to his instead, because I would just ask the people who go to his to like maybe film it and then then
Like-
send me a copy because I want to see how my
like
boy does. My boy, you know, I want to
It's a
support my
parent
boy.
who has like 2 concerts of kids, and then they ask like, "Hey, can you just record it for me too, please?" Like,
Yeah.
I gotta go to my other kids.
Which kid do you like better?
Ah, dang it! They didn't record it, but they're filming their kid the whole time.
It's like a parent who has a kid, and then it's like, but I also have to teach at the same time as my kid
Yeah,
too.
so yeah, it's gonna be fun, and we're gonna be doing a concert, and there's gonna be tons of ukulele players. I don't want to name them, so I'm gonna miss people, but it's awesome. Daniel Ward is gonna be there. That's a big one. Yeah, so. Yeah, lots of good stuff. I hope to see you guys there. If you're not from Michigan or East Lansing, it's a nice road trip, right? Like take a nice. It's 2 weeks away, so you're like, if you're on the fence of going, call your best friend, call your best friends, make a road trip, make a road trip out.
Why not?
Start
Go
driving
to
now,
East
you'll
Lansing.
get there.
Yeah, exactly. Start walking. You'll get there by the time the 23rd
It's like being a
rolls
deadhead,
around.
only ukulele.
Yeah, why not? Why not you? Why not you starting that? Like if nobody's doing that, why not you? Because we would love to meet you. And sorry, but we don't have our official hugger coming along with us. Usually, I'm like, yeah, will you get a nice free hug from Kahai? If you come down, but Kahai's not coming with us. So maybe
wonder
Aaron
why.
We'll hand out hugs, maybe.
Because you're gonna be screaming Tears of the Kingdom.
Wonder why.
But yeah, all right, guys, have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Make sure you check out ukuleleontheground.com. Sign up for UU Plus to take your ukulele playing to the next level with some private lessons and whatnot. Buy an ukulele
I was
from
gonna say, since we've been talking about this so much.
Buy an ukulele. Buy a baritone. Buy a Guitalele.
Do you have a baritone on the
I
shop?
do.
You on the shop?
Oh, not on the shop. I thought you were saying if I do. Like,
I know you
but-
have K1s, Islanders, and
Yeah.
Aldrine Guerrero
We
models.
do. Yeah, we do have Aldrine Guerrero models. So if you want like the most primo of koa coming from Guitalele ukulele, the only way to get it is through the custom shop. You have to custom make that, and you're gonna pay a premium price for premium koa, or get it on the Aldrine Guerrero model. And they put aside some really nice cuts. So you guys, one. It's a
nice one.
Yo, the ribbons
And,
on the
and everything
on the,
else too. The Gilbert tuners, all
Yeah.
that stuff like that.
Yeah.
Super high quality.
So some Aldrine Guerrero models, I gotta be honest, I'm kind of jealous of them. Like, why don't I get that? Like the sap and on it and everything, and like the like I said, the ribbons when the curls, beautiful.
Except he's got that, which is one of a kind.
Well, I do miss the curls every now and then. I do have some slight curling going on in this, but you can't really see it. And if people don't see it, does it exist? So that's right. We'll see you folks next time. Take care. Aloha.